Cuba's longtime leader Fidel Castro died this weekend at the age of 90. Now the world is responding to Castro's death, prompting mixed responses of both joy and sorrow. In Miami, thousands danced in the streets in celebration as Cuba enters a 9-day mourning period. Here in Omaha, reporter Maya Sines spoke with a Cuban native who offers a different perspective.
Megan, tonight I spoke to one Cuban who left his country in 1966 to avoid being forced to enlist in the Cuban military before he turned 15. He says he's not celebrating a leader's death, but rejoicing at the possibility of a new chapter for a place he still feels is home. The death of Cuba's longtime leader, Fidel Castro, has left one local Cuban relieved that the man who took over his country and his family's business in the 1960s is gone.
That was the happiest day on 50 years that we heard.
Roberto Meireles, owner of Gusto Cuban Cafe, says his fond memories of his life in Cuba are pre-Castro regime.
Cuba was like a jewel of the Caribbean because it has everything, you know, and then you miss that because everything in Cuba is different.
Meireles says his parents owned a store in his hometown of Aguada de Pasajeros before Castro began taking over businesses.
They took over everybody's businesses. They own the whole island. Castro is the owner.
Meireles says once his parents knew what Castro had in store for Cuba, they arranged for him to leave the island and move to Spain to avoid being forced to serve Castro's military at the age of 15. Meireles says he blames Castro for changing the trajectory of his life and having to be separated from his parents with no communication for more than 14 years.
It's not Raúl, it's not anybody. Him. He's the key of everything. Because everything, if he's there, everything is controlled.
Meireles says his hope now is for Cuba to be reintegrated back with the rest of the world.
And we want the country to go back into the world. As you know, to be normal, like owning your own store, owning everything for the people that are coming in the future.
Meireles says his parents, who lived under Castro's ruling for decades, had hoped to outlive Castro's political power.
They already passed, but they didn't have the pleasure to see this day, but at least I did.
People in Cuba will gather for public memorials starting tomorrow, with a large gig expected on Tuesday at the square, where Castro gave some of his most fiery and important speeches. His funeral will be held next Sunday in Santiago, known as the cradle of Castro's revolution. Reporting live, I'm Maya Sines, KMTV Action 3 News.